There is an old metaphysical saying that says, as above, as below. And, this is especially true of our planet Urantia, because mankind has always been divided by race. And, this is also especially true of our star cluster of Satania, which is divided by species. Our star cluster of Satania is inhabited by 3 major species and several minor species. And, in the early days of our star cluster council, when law and order were basically non-existent, these groups were openly fighting for domination of various star systems and planetary resources. Can you tell us more about the different species that inhabit our star cluster of Satania? Yes. First there are the humanoids. Even though humanoids vary dramatically throughout our star cluster, they are all forms of advanced animal, humanoid life, based upon the evolution of mammals. Moreover, our star cluster of Satania consists of about 1,000 stars, which are composed of exactly 619 star systems. Furthermore, there are exactly 258 star systems within Satania that have registered animal, humanoid life. Therefore, over 40% of all life within our star cluster of Satania is humanoid. However, most of these animal, humanoid worlds are ruled by a leader, a council, a monarchy, or a dictatorship. And, some of these worlds are united and some are divided. Moreover, throughout our star cluster of Satania, almost all spacefaring advanced animal, humanoid worlds are united within an alliance commonly referred to on our planet Urantia as the Ashtar Command. Next, there are the reptilians. They also vary dramatically throughout our star cluster. However, they are all forms of reptilian, humanoid life, based upon the evolution of reptiles. Furthermore, about 30% of all life within our star cluster of Satania is reptilian. Moreover, almost all reptilian, humanoid worlds are ruled by a clan system, where they have a worker clan, a warrior clan, a religious clan, and a ruling clan. Unfortunately, however, most reptilians see all animal, humanoids just as another form of animal, and a great source of protein. Therefore, they see animal, humanoid planets as giant cattle farms that need to be managed, manipulated, and controlled. Then, there are the insectoids. They also vary dramatically throughout our star cluster. However, they are all forms of insect, humanoid life, based upon the evolution of insects. Furthermore, about 15% of all life within our star cluster of Satania is insectoid. Moreover, all insectoid worlds are ruled by a dominant queen and something called hive mind. The hive mind is a very intense, extremely high-frequency hum that is generated by the dominant queen. This hum is extremely addictive and causes all of her species that hear it to follow her demands with little or no free will. Their society functions as a collective. And, all thoughts and actions are for the benefit of the collective. Therefore, if they are cut off from the collective, they only desire is to be reconnected to the hive. Unfortunately, however, most insectoids see all life besides their own as a food source, slave labor, or as living incubators for the hatching of their eggs. Therefore, they will only cooperate with other species if it is in their best interest for the survival of the hive. Furthermore, our star cluster of Satania is also inhabited by several minor species, which comprise the remaining 15% of all life throughout our star cluster. These minor species consist of 1. Amphibian, humanoid life, based upon the evolution of fish. 2. Raptor, humanoid life, based upon the evolution of birds. 3. Large moving coral type, moving plant type creatures that inhabit several deep water worlds throughout our star cluster. 4. A few species that defy any rational classification, that inhabit a few isolated worlds throughout our star cluster.